from his apartment, it's the Surge Podcast, starring Sergio Santana.
I don't wanna hurt nobody, I just came to vibe. Tonight we ain't with no drama, tell them dig it outside.
With tonight's guest,
Shorty and her friends been looking for a while, tell them come and vibe.
Now here's your host,
disappear for a little fun, a place to hide. Forget the problems, man. Gotta put the stress aside.
If you're looking for an anthem, hoping to find a reason to put your hands up, lift your voice and just stand up, make some noise and just amp up. Come on, come on. If you're looking for an anthem, hoping to find a reason to put your hands up, lift your voice and just stand up, make some noise and just amp up. Come on, come on.
No, you can't stop us. No, you can't crush us. No, you can't make us fall. We'll never let it go. You can try if you want to. This ball is coming down, we going through. This you make a move, let them know if they don't know. We'll never let it go.
Digging deep in my passion, get out the way, don't make a mistake as I'm ready to start thrashing. On a mission for good permission, I'm done asking. Done with sitting and sick of wishing, it's time to cash in. I'm passing on my competition, I ain't having a smashing. On my opposition, man, I'm attacking and blasting. Every single foe, ready to go, toe to toe, to blow for blow, the flow is cold. Come on, fisa, just me niga, lo siento, pero no tengo tiempo porque entro mi cuerpo tiene un fuego, está saliendo, nada de quiere esto. Time to break the balls down, I'm ready to let go, ready to get going. Weak when I'm sowing, know the blessings are flowing, just hoping my seed is growing. So knowing I can't be shown in the moment, what the future is holding, gonna stay on the grind and own it. Come on.
No, you can't stop us. No, you can't crush us. No, you can't make us fall. We'll never let it go. You can try if you want to. This ball is coming down, we going through. This you make a move, let them know if they don't know. We'll never let it go.
For the big pun, I'm ready for my turn. Old school like the rocks, the sideburns. No fool, I'm not gonna be side turn. I'ma hold through, cause my spot's waiting, cause I've earned the position I've been given, this I've yearned. No more sitting and binge wishing, cause I've learned. When you're lifting the big vision, beware of the little fishes that aim to deter your mission, cause I burned. All the bridges that led to my own mindset. If the devil is creeping up where I'm at, trying to get me to trouble, loving to find that. One excuse, then now the truth to climb back. In my hole, my solo with no rope. I just control my whole flow with no hope. So now I'm running my own show, no time for these slow pokes. I got it for my folks, so let's go.
You can't crush us, no, you can't make us fall. We'll never let it go. You can try if you want to. This ball is coming down, we going through. This you make a move, let them know if they don't know. We'll never let it go.
All right, so our first guest for this evening is comedian Sean Clay. Make some noise for him. What's going on, man?
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good. One of the, I would say, one of the Philly kings of comedy for sure. One of the OGs. That's why I wanted to have you on the show, just because I haven't had a chance to even speak to you about the history that and things yeah. And I know, like, we've seen each other over the years, but we've never actually sat there and like talked that long. You know what I mean? Like, it's how how comics are. Comics be hanging out and you don't be having no deep conversations. You crack some jokes, you out.
Yeah. But the thing is, I met you through somebody else.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And through Sun 752. That's how I met you.
Oh yeah, Son. Yeah, Son
And
was
then
my
you
boy.
and then you had the thing at the pizza store. You know what I mean? On South Street.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing you ever since. But I really ain't have time to like chop it up with you like that. But
Yeah.
I know you always been doing your thing, and you always been a funny guy. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, still trying, man. You out here, the one thing about comedy, it's not even gonna say trying. I just do it. This is what I do. You know what I mean? So it don't matter what's gonna come from it, good or bad. That's what I do, and I'm gonna keep doing it. And you know, I even hear like I produce my own shows. I don't really go to the major clubs like that because I don't feel like sitting in lines or doing lotteries and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Because I already
yeah,
know
that's
I'm
why.
funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
that's one of the reasons why I started. Because I didn't like the long lines and all that jazz.
yeah. And you produce how many shows you do like a year? Like you produce like at least a dozen, right? Like monthly ones or
At least 10 a year.
okay.
It's 2 months that I skip over. You know what I mean? Usually April and usually December. I don't like to compete with Christmas or Easter.
Yeah. And then I saw you were doing the Laugh House stuff too, because the Laugh House is back in AC, which is dope.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The soft opening was last week. It was a success, and I'm there this weekend. I got 2 shows, Friday and Saturday.
yeah. So
Yeah.
how long has it been you've been doing comedy now? Like
Well, I
total.
mean, I've been a comedian my whole life. You know what I mean? I've
Okay.
been funny, goofy my
Yeah.
whole life, but I'll say maybe about 25 years. I
Okay.
went to the Laugh House at 1998 to sign up for open mic.
Mm. Man, 1990, I graduated in 1998. I remember all that back then. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And
Yeah.
I didn't start to get paid for it until maybe about 1999. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And that was when comedy was like back then, like it was really booming. Like as far as like the rooms that was popping at the time, I feel like there was a lot of cool rooms to do. The New Market Cabaret was around at that time.
Yes.
Sweet Cheeks was around.
Sweet cheeks.
Yeah. It was like yeah, a
Uh,
lot of rooms in
couple,
Jersey.
lot of rooms in Northeast.
Yeah.
I live. A lot of people didn't know that I live like 4 or 5 blocks away from the Laugh House, so it was more
Mhm.
convenient for me to come there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
people always say, "Why are you always at the Laugh House?" I'm only like 5 blocks away. So
Oh yeah, the closest thing is there was a dude, what's his name? Something Savage. It was a white guy.
Mikey
He's
Savage.
Yeah, Mikey Savage. Or yeah, he had a room in Jersey. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Him and Dan Sinclair.
yeah, yep, yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
He's the guy that first gave Kevin Hart his first hosting job out there.
yeah, yeah.
Sweet Tea.
And I remember, yeah, Sweet Cheeks. Sweet Cheeks was I did Sweet Cheeks. I used to eat at Sweet Cheeks all the time. I would bomb all the time, Sweet Cheeks. I could I and that, at that time I was still trying to figure myself out and stuff. And I just was like, man, my mom was like, go to school, and I went to school and she was probably right in the long run. Like I still kept doing comedy, but I got my master's degree and in the
Yeah,
long
but see
run,
the
you know what I'm
thing
saying?
is,
Mm,
every time you got on stage, right,
mm,
it just seemed like something was just going to happen. It seemed like you had that one joke tucked away,
yeah,
and I could see it. I could see you working on it at the time. I didn't know you wasn't polished because when I looked at you, I thought you were just polished. I thought you've been around for like forever, but I
yeah,
didn't realize that you was starting just like me. You know what I
yeah, yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
but I just could see where you had the delivery, you had everything what you was gonna say. It seemed like you just had that one big joke ready to explode, man.
Well, it's funny you say that because when I got to the Laugh House, I had started when I was 15. So I started I got that stand-up comedy book or Judy Carter. Somebody gave it to me because somebody referred me to this other guy that owned a comedy club in media. And
Yeah,
it was called Bonkers. So I would go there, kept trying to sneak into the club, and he finally beat him down. He let me get 3 minutes, and I started performing, and then he kind of like let me host and stuff. And that's what got me started.
yeah,
But the book, I met her. I met the author a couple weeks ago, and it was crazy because I was working at Amazon. She came up and I scanned her returns and talked to her, and I was like, oh snap, it's Judy Carter. I started doing comedy with your book, and she did the comedy Bible and all that, and it's it, you
yeah. I
know
remember.
that's full circle for me. Like I was like, well, I gotta do something with this. I met her. I gotta finish this out. It ain't over yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I feel like that still. It's that one, where's that one joke? That one joke away.
No,
Oh
see the thing
man.
is,
Mhm.
what I'm saying is, it's just that you just look like you had something to say. You know, a lot of people get on stage and they fumble and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't quite remember all of your jokes and stuff, but I knew you came from like a intelligent angle. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like a lot of your stuff was like complex and it
yeah.
used to like go over people's heads and stuff. You know what I mean?
Big facts. Big facts. I had to start scaling that back a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Yeah.
Like in front of a different crowd. Like sometimes, they say just like with rap, you
Mhm.
got to dumb down your raps and you got to dumb down your jokes. But a lot of your stuff, I'm trying to tell you, man, it was like you were saying grown man jokes at that age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I remember, man. I can go back and go grab my old book of rhymes, basically my old jokes. And I was like, what was I talking about? But because I thought about some of those jokes. And sometimes now, especially now, like when I'm doing my open mic, I kind of like, I'm not saying I'm going off at a tangent, but I already know what I'm going, like my topic is, and I'm just kind of ranting about that topic. And
Yeah.
yeah, and that's why I'm kind of, the jokes are coming from that, definitely for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. It seemed like you was like meshing your educational background with the jokes too. You know what I
hmm,
mean? And, a lot of people just dumb. They just don't know what this word mean. This word mean.
yeah, yeah. That's what's up, man.
Yeah,
So
and, and that's
what do you think about comedy in Philly like right now? Like, I mean, you've seen it the whole 20 years, or 25 years you've been there. I I've been a little bit removed the past like 5 years or so. And I know for me, like seeing, I mean, from Florida was like a really big different experience, than here. I still feel spoiled that I came from Philly because I'm like, Philly was just like, they just breed a different type of comic. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and especially because of the audiences, the audience don't play with comics in Philly. Like, they gonna let you know if you're funny or not quick.
Well, I mean, it's still booming. It's still thriving.
Yeah.
It's just that sometimes it can shift.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's people lean towards the people that's more popular and you got to your marketing and your strategy has to be up to par. You know what I mean? It has always had to be up to par, but it's just different. Like for example, back in the day, you know, radio and just passing out flyers, that was enough. But you got social media, of course, and then you got a whole bunch of people doing the same thing. They want to have the same dates as you, the same themes.
Yeah.
So it's more like who you're gonna reach first, on who gets reached first. That determines on how your crowd is gonna come out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I got one show I've been promoting for like the last 2 months, but it's for Valentine's Day. I wanted to skip over December. I wanted to skip over January, and I just wanted to get an early jump on it because I knew people was gonna flood December and January with shows. So a lot of times it's just, and it's really not, it's not a whole competition thing. It's just that sometimes you got to get ahead of the class, man. You got to get ahead of the race.
Yeah, no, no, big facts. You're right, because that way, if you try and scramble and do it all at the last minute, everybody got the show the same night. I mean, you gonna have those comics gonna try to hit every show to try to get spots for sure, but
Yeah,
you're not gonna have a crowd that's gonna be able to stretch all shows every time.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
with me, like you know, I started 25 years ago, but I was performing ever since I'll say maybe 12 or 13 because I used to go to we used
Mm,
to go in the lunchroom and like talk about each other mothers and stuff like that. So that's how it started
yeah.
started with me. So nowadays, 2024, you got a lot of guys. You got the social media comedians, which I don't have a problem with. And you got the regular comedians, they see the success of others and then they think they just can just jump right into it. And it's definitely a difficult field, man. It's just like anything else, is who you know, really.
Yeah.
Because how I got put on to a lot of my shows, Michael Blackson, I used to go run around with him, and he used to put me on his show every time he had a show locally or in the tri-state, and that's how I got to know a lot of people from New York.
Mm,
So what I mean, I went from not really, I just wanted to make people laugh, not really caring about the whole business thing, and then I'm in these rooms, what I mean, just getting a lot of work with people. I would open for Mike, 10, 15 minutes, and that was my hustle.
yeah. Well,
And
I mean, you do like 10, 15 minutes, you can knock it out the park. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And there's no pressure on you because people
Mm,
don't know you. What I mean, they just came to see him, and you already know how the
mm,
groupies is in the game. You know what I mean?
mm,
That's something that
mm,
people don't talk about too much, but it is there. You know what I mean?
yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much how I started. And what I see now, just going through those tough times, like my very first show I promoted, it was Michael Blackson, Ron Long, and Charles Walden, right?
Yeah,
8 people showed up to the show.
yeah.
8 people.
I've been there.
And I had like 5 security guards. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but the beautiful thing was I had got my income tax at the time, and I paid them from that. So it wasn't a total waste. It's just that
Yeah.
for me to go to there and to other stuff that I've done is just like a blessing.
Yeah, no, it's also like you gotta just be patient, you know what I mean? Let it build, because it's like word of mouth and things don't happen overnight type of thing. Because
Yeah,
I've been there. I've absolutely been there, man. Like where
yeah.
I'm like,
And you travel, you
yeah,
travel, like you say, you've been to Florida, California.
yeah,
I really don't travel. I've done shows in other states, but that's been like my biggest knock, that I don't really travel a lot. And that comes from a place though. That's something from a whole different interview. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that's why I applaud comedians that's been in the game, and they do a lot of travel. Some comedians, they don't even have a stable place. They just travel, travel, travel. That's how they live.
yeah. I mean, I used to always think that was my dream, though. Like I wanted to be like this touring comic where I was always traveling, and now I have like a family and everything. And I'm like, why would I want that? Why would I have that?
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? That's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, like it's not worth all that. Just tell some jokes.
yeah.
Like
It's
living out
not,
a
man. You know
suitcase.
what I mean? How
But
many kids you got now? How many kids you got?
well, I have two.
Okay,
Yeah, my kids are
all right.
my kids are grown because yeah, my son just turned 18. My daughter's 24, so they're
Wow,
grown.
man.
Yes.
So that means you like 50 then, right?
Don't be telling. I let people do like they have to figure it out on their own. Nah, you know how it is. But nah, I'm out here, doing my thing and still and I felt like my last birthday, I was like, oh man, I feel like I finally got tired. Like I'm just I'm finally there.
You
Uh
finally got tired. Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you know how it is. You like tired.
yeah,
Tired of
yeah. Well,
everything.
listen. I'm approaching my 50th. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a part of life, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Life comes at you fast because you could look young, right? And then your body
Yeah.
will tell you like, oh nah, man. Sit
Listen,
down.
I'm every bit of 49. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what I did today.
Mm,
I took some trash. I don't know why I did this. I took some like one garbage and trash out, right?
mm,
And I had on a towel and a t-shirt. My whole objective was just to run out, put the trash outside, and then run back in the house.
mm.
Don't you know I locked myself out?
Nah, man. Yes. You just sit down
No,
there, they just
yeah, no phone, no key. I couldn't even
nah.
break in my own house. You know what I mean?
Oh man. So how'd you get in?
I called well, my neighbor had
Uh,
owns a business. He's an African guy,
yeah.
and he called my cousin who has a spare key.
Okay.
So my cousin was out doing shoveling snow. It was a snowstorm today too. That's so
Yeah.
crazy. And he came back, but I was outside for at least 30, 40 minutes. People
Damn.
walking by, what I mean? I got on a towel. I just looked like the neighborhood pervert.
That's normal out here in LA. There be people just walking in the streets like that, man. So I mean, there ain't no
Yeah,
snowstorm, but yeah, that's so
yeah.
funny,
So I'm
man.
there. As far as age, I'm there. But that's
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it, because my
Mhm.
comedy has aged with my age.
Yeah.
Like I thought like I said, when I get older, I ain't gonna want to do this no more. But I still have that urge to make people laugh. You know what I mean? Like when I'm driving Uber, when I'm at work, when I'm out in public, when I just interact with people, it's just there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's hard to explain.
Yeah, no, I did. I remember when I used to do Uber. I did my set for a couple. I just picked them up from like a reception, and I told them I was a comedian, and they were like, do your set for me, and I was like,
Yeah,
it's kind of
yeah.
weird because like my back. You just looking at my head. They was like, he gave me $20, and I did my whole set. I didn't even think twice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
and it
telling you,
works.
Sergio, you always been sneaky funny, man. You know what I mean?
I was like, man, I gotta get this money. Like that was a
Yeah,
nice tip. They ain't had to do that.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you, you know what I mean, coming on and stuff. So you're only promoting the February show right now, you said, right? So that's what you got
Well,
going on?
Well, I'm promoting both. I got the Atlantic City one,
Oh, that's
you
right.
know,
Yeah.
with the Laugh House. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I really wish they have a great success because I know some investors that's involved with it,
Yeah.
and they good people. They just want to see a smooth show. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They got a nice venue, beautiful venue, a lot of seats.
Hmm.
It's on the boardwalk right off, Caesars, and the Atlantic City crowd is different because you get people from everywhere.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the tourist, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a tourist site,
Yeah.
so
So you don't know like your audience is gonna be at all, you know what I mean? So that's why your material gotta be strong. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
so so that's I mean how it started. I mean I'm not gonna say how they got started, but remember
Yeah.
I had did a Laugh House reunion,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it was something I wanted to bring back because that's where we all started. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah. So what, Mr. Rogers reached out to you to do them ones out there, or is it somebody else now?
Well, yeah, Mr. Rod is behind it.
Hmm.
He got a nice team with him.
Hmm.
But they liked the work that I had did on the Laugh House reunion, and it was a great show. All of the people that came, they tore it down, and they just reached out to me, was like, look, we got a soft opening, we want like you to be on the show. And my
Hmm.
intentions wasn't, oh, I did this show, I want y'all to put, what I mean, they just offered me, you know what I mean. I just felt honored because I always wanted to crack the Laugh House lineup back then. But
Yeah.
the Laugh House back then was about clicks. You know what I mean? I don't know if you know that.
Oh, I
It was
always
about who,
notice it. Yeah.
yeah. So it was always who cool with who, and next thing you know, you see like a corny dude controlling the light. Like, well, how'd you get me off the stage when you corny yourself? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's the nature of everything. You know, all these clubs I have like cliques, and who you become friends with and what clique you end up. Just is how it's just that's just the way world works. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
I don't like I feel like you were saying Son, like Son was my bull, man. I haven't seen Son in a while. I swear he doesn't do comedy more though, because I haven't seen him do any
no,
stand.
no,
Yeah,
I mean, I've been trying to get him to come back,
yeah.
but that's like I said, that's how I met you because he talked you up. He's like, look, man, I got a cool young
Mm,
boy named Sergio,
mm,
and what I mean, he running the room down here. We just gonna go down there and check it out. And I'm like, Sergio.
mm-hmm.
Like the only Sergio I know is like Sergio Valente. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Remember the
it's these. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but I bet you, like I said, you were so studious, and then like I said, you always been
Yeah, I always got my glasses on.
yeah, you always got your glasses on, and then
Uh,
you were just like always respectful. Hey guys, y'all need this, y'all need
uh,
that, and I thought I thought you was a star at first. I didn't know you were
uh.
just starting off like me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, yeah. Everybody, it takes a while, I think, too, to figure out. Like, I figured out my cadence, you know what I mean, too. It took me a minute to get to that point. You know what I mean? Well, even
Yeah,
now, I'm saying, like, I was listening to somebody, you listen to your sets and try and work some stuff out. And I was like, oh, I hear my cadence now. So you start to write your jokes in that that pattern. Because
yeah, yeah,
I took two's class before it became like the Philadelphia Comedy College, where he used to have it at Warm Daddies.
yeah, yeah,
And I remember him talking about that with cadence, and he talked about that movie Glengarry Ross. You know what I mean? How like there were like those scenes where people just basically was like these speeches, but if you heard like the cadence in their voices, how they delivered it and
yeah,
how
yeah,
effective that was. It's
yeah,
the same, no
yeah.
different in comedy.
There's no difference. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You just have you're just basically doing a monologue. But you know what I mean, you gotta have like stuff ready on the fly, so you can't just be like a robot, which I see some people do, which is
yeah,
I think that's just a new thing when you just starting off. Or you was working on a joke and you trying you trying
yeah,
to get it
yeah. I mean,
off.
it's definitely
Yeah.
like I said, man. To hone your craft and to make it perfection, it takes years and years and years.
Hmm.
But as you learning, I mean, you're living. Like I said, you got your family and stuff. You know what I mean? That's honorable, man. Like you did
Yeah.
all that and you still got the interest and making people laugh and it just being entertainment, period. You know what I mean? Like we just lucky
Yeah.
to have you, man.
Oh man, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that
Yeah,
from you,
yeah,
man. Yeah,
yeah,
man. And I think that helps everybody get more material. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
like you said,
yeah,
we getting older, we got more like to talk about. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah,
what do we got to talk
yeah.
about when we 18? You know what I mean?
Exactly. We only can talk about what we went through. You know what I mean? Now I got
Yeah.
a whole Yeah, I can talk about back pain now. You know what I mean?
Right? Exactly. Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Listen,
saying? I can talk about, you know, I can't eat certain foods now. You know what I mean?
that's why I would listen. I thought I was gonna die the other day, and my wife was like, "Calm down." Like, I was about to go to the urgent care. She's like, "It's just gas. I promise you. Take this pill.
Oh,
You'll be all right."
what you thought it was a heart attack or
Dad, I
something?
didn't know what was going on. I was like, "I'm gonna die." I was calling my mom and everything. I was like, "Mom, I ain't got no benefits." I was like, "No, God." But yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get to this point, you like in your life, your body is just like, what's going on? You know?
Yeah, yeah. You go through so many changes and stuff, man. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
think I met Patton Oswalt one time. This
Mhm.
before he was like blew up at the Laugh House, and he told me, you know what I mean? He said, you know, you got funny stuff, but I'm gonna give you the most important advice. He said, personalize all of your jokes.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to worry about people stealing. You know what's coming from you. You know what I mean? Because nobody has a life like you. So he said, personalize all your jokes.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's what I try to incorporate. And like I said, a lot of them people used to come through down there, and we had no clue who they were. Like Little
Yeah.
Rel, you know what I mean? All of them
Yeah.
people came through the bathhouse. All
Yeah.
them people that you see there, all them comedians that's like relevant and still working, they
Mhm.
came through the Laugh House at some point, like on the weekends, and we didn't know who they was, you know?
Well, I mean, the internet, none of that was out, so you didn't know that just people was out there working like that. Like these comics are different because they'll, you know, what I mean, they post everything. Like I don't even
Yeah.
feel like I post enough. You know, what I mean? I'm trying. I was like, I've already listen. I'm trying to do this stuff. I started doing more lives this year and everything. I said, this is gonna be the year. Gotta do
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah. You
think I
said you don't
think
feel like
yeah.
you post enough?
Nah, well, nah, because think about it. People be posting like these, like you said, internet comics. You know what I mean? Which is like
Yeah,
a whole
yeah.
nother lane where I see like they'll get a whole like weekend somewhere, and they're and
Oh
you
yeah,
wait,
yeah. Based
yeah,
off that, yeah.
yeah, based off of that, and you're like, well, dag, so now I gotta figure this out now. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Like
yeah,
I just learned I just did two. Well, I do videos all the time, but I got two of them within the last 2 weeks that went viral, both over 200,000 views.
see,
And they
okay,
just basic videos, no fancy edits. You know, my phone is like I got the worst cell phone in the world, you know what I mean? And
mm-hmm.
once I figure that part out of it, then it's time to make some money.
Listen, don't worry about it, man. You see the stuff they had on Tubi that blew up, you was good. That's why I got that many views. You good. You gonna be fine. Keep doing what you're doing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I gotta get some Tubi money though, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they not fooling nobody no more, man. They're up there doing like the blockbuster movies now, it looks like, because they got the commercial money. They already got all the hood movies they needed.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and they moving on. Because I saw something about they're owned by Fox News or something like that, and I was like,
yeah,
of
yeah,
course they are. Yeah.
yeah,
But Tubi is like the equivalent of like remember the Muslim boy? They used to be at the gas station and saw all the bootleg movies and stuff, like all the hood movies back in the day. That's
yeah,
Tubi.
yeah.
It's just on the internet now. It's crazy. You just go to Tubi.
It's always was hood movies. I mean, or I'll say straight to DVD movies. That's what we used to
Yeah.
call them.
Oh yeah, the straight
Straight
to
to DVD.
DVD. Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Be right there next to the Quran. Whole bunch of movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, CDs, everything, tapes, everything you buddy. Yeah, I miss those days for real. Like it's
Yeah, yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
It seemed like it was more authentic back then. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, because you knew like what people really liked because it was real. Like you had to actually, it was tangible. You had to put stuff in people's hands, from everything from the album to movie. Now it's all we just going through like these pictures or these little like thumbprints on our internet. You know what I mean? On
Yeah,
whatever we on. You on Netflix, on
yeah,
Amazon. They just little thumbprints.
yeah. You know what's so crazy? The
Hmm.
only clear movies back then, right? Remember the guy used to be the DVD guy? The
Hmm.
only clear movies back then was pornos, though. You know what I mean?
Right, and they be like, we got 3 hours, 4 hours worth. You be like, dang, them jobs be the longest ones. They was like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But I figured out why they was clear. You know why they was clear, right?
why? Because the
Because
people they made them.
no, because they was already straight to DVD. You know what I mean? The movies never made the theater. They was straight up DVDs already, so it's easy to burn. You know what I mean?
I
And,
thought they
and
were.
back then people used to go sneak in the theater, and tape movies, put
Mm.
them on
You know, I remember, man. I used to get mad when somebody would stand up. I'm like, come on, man. Why y'all standing up? You know, she trying to take. I hate that. Or somebody that coughs too
But they
much.
used to sell, you know, right? They used to sell.
They used to sell. They used to sell. But no, that's funny, man. I used to always assume that those pornos were just people, they made them themselves. I thought that they did it just like people, but they used to sell they like, you know what I mean, they own like albums and stuff like that, you know what I mean, or they own
Yeah,
mixtapes. I thought that was the
yeah,
same thing. That's the
but that, you
cake.
know, they was good for me because, you know, before I used to actually go to the store and buy the big box. You know what I mean? The big box porno. It was about the same box as a cereal box.
Oh my God.
And
Yo,
they
that's
would give it to
crazy.
me in these through plastic bags where people could see me walking up the street with these pornos, man.
No shame
But,
neither.
you know, when they compacted, when they put them to DVD
Mhm.
content, then that's when it was just way better, man. I you know, I had a whole porn run, man.
That's
A whole
crazy,
porn run. Like
man.
I said, that's another interview, though. You know
That is no,
what
that's yeah. I was gonna say I'm at this stage of my life now though. I like to watch people eat. That's my problem. I'm up. I don't even do that no more. I just be watching just all these shows of people just
I
grubbing. And so and they didn't have that back in the day. They didn't have no DVDs with nobody cooking. They're going out to restaurants.
yeah,
We
yeah,
yeah, we
yeah,
wasn't ready for
yeah.
that yet. That came out with the Travel Channel when the Travel Channel came out.
With people eating and stuff, right? Yeah,
Yeah. They remember that dude Andrew Zimmerman? He used to
yeah,
go out,
yeah. I
yeah.
remember that.
He had a
Yeah,
strong stomach. I mean, he ate all
yeah.
types of crazy stuff. Yeah. And I always wanted to have a job like that, you know, where I traveled and ate. Um, but nah.
What, like a critic?
I mean, I don't want to criticize it like that. I just want to just go out and like, you know what I mean? Because you go out and I think that's how you get connected with a lot of different cultures just through the food. I mean, I don't
Food,
think that. That's
okay.
how it is. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So you wanna go out there, you want to experience the culture, taste the foods and stuff like that, and just
yeah,
you know what I mean. Have it. It's not you. Who do you to criticize? They food. That's their food. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I don't.
But
You're right,
I got a
but people
friend
do
that
that.
does that. I
Yeah.
got a friend that does that though. He go from city to city, trying out cheesesteaks and stuff. You know what I mean? It's,
Let me see that because I feel like I'm a cheesesteak snob already. Like,
his
so
name, listen, his name is Kareem Williams.
Kareem
He's on my
Williams. Okay.
friends list. Look him up.
Okay. Is he in the Playground? Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about the Playground.
No, he's not in the playground. No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Yeah, man, because that's about this. Is it that hard to make a good cheesesteak? It obviously is, man. It obviously is. And it be making me mad, you know. Especially here. Especially now that I'm here. Like and sometimes I want like a whole gear of cheesesteak and it's just nothing but
Yeah,
tacos and burritos everywhere. So it's
yeah.
different.
Oh, so they don't have no shops there where you at?
There is, but like, you know, they're hit or miss, you know, and it's not that many. They're far and few between. But there is this
Are they
one place, huh? Go ahead.
are they called Philly cheesesteaks?
Well, there's one called Philly's Best. They're okay. And there's another one called Boost Philly. But the best one I found so far, I think it was called South Philly Cheesesteak. Something they all had something Philly in their name.
Okay,
But and they do get the Amoroso rolls and they get sweet peppers and they get tasty cakes and all that. But
okay.
it's still something missing. I'm like, I don't know
So
what
I'm
it is.
missing. Yeah.
Um, I'm like, I don't know, man. There's something missing. But I found this place, this in Hollywood called New York Chopped Cheese,
Yeah.
and they just do chopped cheese, but they ain't a cheesesteak. But for some reason, they slap, and they's the closest thing I've had to even make me feel that way. You know what I mean? Like that was like I'll keep going back and grabbing something from them. And the other
Yeah.
day, I met the owner. His name is Anthony, and he gave me like it was a Jamaican beef patty. They opened it up, stuffed it with
Yeah.
some mac and cheese, and then they did the chopped cheese on top of it. Put that joint on a roll. My God, it was. Listen, listen. I was like, thank you. You know what I mean? I've been waiting to have a sandwich like this. I ain't had nothing like this in a minute.
How come you don't do the food thing?
Me and my
I
wife
mean,
keep talking about that.
you can add it on too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know,
I should have a street cart where I'm just making up but nah, because you know it's the rolls and everything. That's a whole production. I wish there was Wawas and stuff here. I can't do all that, man. I can't. I was thinking about it. I've talked about it a couple times. I'll be making stuff here at home. But
yeah.
nah, yeah. Nah, one of these days I'm gonna have one of these days I'll have served steaks or something. I'll be talking about it. This is what I'm gonna do it. But
Yeah.
I gotta figure out how to do it right because if I can't do it right, there's no reason to do it. Because
Well, you know, it ain't no time like now though. You know what I mean?
yeah, Well, you tell me. Look, we can link up. You tell me how we gonna do it, man. We can figure
Yeah,
this out. Get the
yeah, for
distribution.
sure, for sure.
Let's get
How
this
long
good.
you been cooking? How long you been cooking?
Man, I've been cooking since my 20s, so it's been like
Well,
at
that's
least
what I'm
20
saying.
years.
That's
Yeah,
how you have mastered then.
I be always throwing down, man, making all types of crazy stuff in my family.
Exactly.
So
So that's what I'm saying. It ain't no time like now, man.
yeah,
Just try
man.
it. Just put some of your work on like a video. You got a YouTube channel, right? Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
Yeah, put it on your and you know it's a market for everything. So
yeah. You know, I might take that advice right there, Sean. I
yeah,
might run
just
with
do
that,
it, man.
man.
I'm telling you.
Yep, I might do that. I might do that,
Do
man.
it.
You acting like you ate one of my cheesesteaks before, but it's all right. But you just know that
No, because you
yeah,
gave that idea because
yeah,
I've never really thought about how food connect people. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
It really
And
do.
and if it's like a cultural barrier, it connects people even more. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, people just go from like I said, I do Uber, so I take people from restaurant to restaurant, and food will never go out of business
Never, ever, never.
ever.
Big facts. All right. Well, before I let you go, man, tell everybody where they can find you on social media. As far as like, yeah, I know you got the Playground. I
All right,
I just mentioned that, so you can probably mention that, but anywhere else they can find you on social media.
yeah. On Facebook,
Mhm,
Sean Clay, SeanClay.
mhm,
IG Clay Comedy, CLAY Comedy.
mhm.
You can find me on YouTube, or you just search Sean Clay. All of my stuff will come up.
Okay.
SeanClay.
All right. Cool. You ain't got no Instagram, nothing.
Yeah, Instagram. Clay Comedy.
Oh, Clay Comedy. Okay. Okay. Clay
All right.
Comedy. Okay. All right. Cool. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you, man, and definitely gonna have you on again whenever you got something coming up. When you get closer to the Valentine's show, we can talk. You know what I mean? Again.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Have
thanks a
you
lot
on.
for having me. And try that food thing, man. You know what I mean? Don't don't
I'm,
play around with it.
I'm not. I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm gonna let you know, man, if it works for real. No, because if it works, then that's a whole other thing. Especially if I can make money off it.
Yeah, for
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah. I mean, that's the whole point. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I've thought about it so many times. Trust me. I'm gonna have to send. Look, when we get off, I'm gonna send you a whole bunch of pictures of food I'm making. All these
All right.
recipes.
And look, and I'll
Yeah.
post it. I'll post it just to show you people response.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna send you a picture of that chopped cheese. Cause listen, you gotta see. I took a picture of as soon as he cut it open. I ain't make that one, but I'm gonna send you a picture of it so you can see it.
All right.
All right, man. Well, thank you, man.
Okay, bro.
Everybody, make some noise for Sean Clay. Thank you, man.
All right.
All right, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Cucaracha con queso. Eso es. You got a fish and you fed it. Little fishy. I got a dog and I pet it. I'm a soldier, you a medic. Call of Duty. I'm Advil, you a headache. Having freestyle in Ohio. Boricua y mexicano. Frozen yogurt, mantecado. I'm dinero, you a chavo. My mama hit me con chancletas. Oh, you eat porca y chuleta. You're a table, I'm a mesa. Oh, you got strength, yo tengo fuerza. Oh, you got weights, yo tengo pesas. You a minivan, and I'm a Tesla. Y con mi diosa, yo tengo fuerza. Y con mi diosa, yo tengo fuerza. I'm a Latino, but I look like a gringo. You speak Spanish? Un poquito. Growing up, remember so many times showing up. House of another person I don't know. Friend of my mom, so in we go. Stranger greets me in Spanish. I respond back to her in English. She looks confused and stares at my mother like a mother that disgraced in my race, and I feel it. So many thoughts I can't cast running through my mind. I try to take another path, but I hit rewind. We're running all the flashbacks like I'm stuck in time. Cause I've been living in the past while you're passing by. Cause I'm never Puerto Rican enough. It's what they're telling me since infancy, I keep it a buck. So I try to spring a fool at me, I think it's enough. But they turn and laugh at me, you'll never be one of us. Yeah, man, I've been struggling with this for so long. I consume with the pain in the gut cause I don't know how to deal with the shame that I feel.
Puerto Rican again, speak his own language, cause he'll hide in the shell. The very first moment he gets laughed at, the fear of rejection is evident, he can't have that, it's clear. Acceptance is present for him to grasp at, so he just chooses to run away than to have that. Feeling like he just never gonna fit in, feeling so conflicted like he's a reason he didn't. Living in the tongue as every word they be omitted, just giving you a moment to understand the premise. I've been in a state of mind for way too damn long. You're thinking it's silly, then you're the reason for the song. But if you can relate to this, no, you're not alone. There's a whole generation of us, we gotta carry on. No, you're not alone. There's a whole generation of us, we gotta carry on.
All right, so our musical guest for this evening is J-Vil. Make some noise for him. What's going on, man?
What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Good. So, I know like, we were talking a little bit right before the interview about Full Sail.
Mhm.
So, I want to go back into a little bit of that conversation with you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, you feel like, because I love Full Sails. That's what I said. So,
Yeah.
do you feel that really like helped you grow more as an artist, or were you already on that path, before you got the Full Sail?
I mean, it definitely helped big time. I was already on that path.
Yeah.
I started doing music when I was 17, 18 years old, and I went to Full Sail when I was about 24. But I had got to a point where I wanted to learn how to be able to do everything on my own.
Mhm.
I got to a place where I was kind of sick of trying to lease beats or reach out to someone to make me a beat or try to get someone to record me and then trying to come up with the funds for that. And so I got to the point where I was like, man, I want to just learn how to do this myself. And I was already having someone who was kind of like coaching me from afar. But I felt like I got to my ceiling on that at that point. But going to Full Sail, like I learned much more than I thought I would. I went for music production. And so I was learning not only how to, record myself, but music theory, which I already had a pretty good background in, and then just like producing music for films or video games. So that was a lot of cool things to do there.
Yeah.
Even making at one point we got to produce music for a WWE wrestlers entrance music.
Oh yeah. That's dope.
So
Yeah.
that was really fun. It was a contest that WWE would pick it because they had a NXT brand, which was down in Full Sail at the time.
Yeah.
But just doing that, it really helped me just really own my skills and just continue to grow my craft on learning how to mix and record and produce my music myself. And then I only just got better in that. And then plus, Full Sail sends you all the equipment to be able to do that as well. So
Yeah.
it definitely did help big time.
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm doing this podcast on that Mac that they sent me the first time. It's old.
I'm using the Mac right now too.
That's why the updates aren't working on my board. But I still use it. This was the second one because like I said, I went for my bachelor's online, but then I was actually on campus. But since I started online, I had the same one. They didn't give me like a brand new one when I got on campus. So I got the
Oh, really?
womp. So I got the womp still because everybody had that nice one with like that like digital board like on the top
Yeah.
and everything, and I still got the old like buttons, like the actual like buttons. So it's all
Same.
right. It's all right, man. But it
How
works.
I do have a question for
Mhm.
you. How was it? What was the difference with being online and on campus?
Well, the course like that you're actually taking was the same. Like they weren't really like being. I didn't feel they were being as far as like lean on you. They were still expecting a lot of the same things.
Mhm.
It was probably a little bit different, but not incredibly different. It was more fast paced though because we were on campus, so we had a lot more to do and a lot more expected of us. In addition
Gotcha.
to that, like, some of that stuff that you had to do online, but it really depended on what month you were in. Because when I went there, I was in the MFA program, so and that
Okay.
was for film production, and we had a whole backlot, we had a sound stage, all that stuff. So they gave you all the like tools to actually play with it.
Oh,
When you're
that's cool.
talking about recording, they have like all these like incredible like recording studios and
That's what I
yeah.
wish I could experience, but can't do that online.
I mean, the Hall of Fame is really cool. video games. You know, they have so many different things they do now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Awesome.
I was gonna say, my brother, he went to Full Sail before me. He went for recording. He went to audio engineering, and then I think he
Okay.
got a bachelor in like music business or something like that. And he raps and stuff as well, and he puts out his own albums, and he has a movie right now out on like Tubi. He's been doing his own thing, so
Oh,
he's
dang.
killing it.
Wow.
Yeah, he has a movie called Happy Holiday on Tubi right now, and Amazon Prime, and he has like a couple other movies he's working on. So he's actually doing a lot of things that Full Sail kind of equip you to do.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Um, I was gonna say the other thing I was thinking about. Do you prefer? You said he was like whatever you prefer. Was it your name? Like John? You say Jonathan.
Jonathan, J-Vil, whatever. What?
Yeah, which was cool. I was like, okay, all right, Jonathan. But yeah, like do you feel like they're two different people, or are they the one, one entity as an
Yeah.
artist? You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. Like, I guess, you know, I guess if I the only way I look at it is if I'm telling someone, yo, it's J-Vil. Like, I get the marketing aspect of it, but like, I don't want to sound like a douche and be like,
Yeah.
no, it's J-Vil. You can't call me by my first name. Like that's the whole
Uh,
reason. Like, I want to make
yeah,
sure
yeah.
that whoever's asking me understands. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like,
Okay.
it
Okay.
ain't that serious. So if you want to you can call me by my name. Like, I don't think I've ever, introduced myself of like, yo, my name's J-Vil. Like, that
Mm,
sounds odd to me. Yeah, that's my artist name, my rap name,
yeah.
and what I perform under. But yeah, but as far as if they're different, I guess the only thing I can think of is I have always felt that when I've performed live on stage and stuff, or even through my music, whether it's I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I've always felt like being J-Vil, or when I'm in the music, whether it's performing or recording a song, whatever, that's when I really feel like I can be 100% authentically me.
Hmm.
Like, I feel like in that moment of time, feel like I am being me, and I'm not going to apologize for whatever I'm saying because this is exactly how I feel,
Yeah.
whether good or bad. And so I guess that would be the only difference. Like, it's me, but without any filters, I guess, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, that's why we create art, right?
Yeah.
Because we're expressing those emotions and stuff. And so who do you find like as inspirations for your music?
Well, it's definitely changed throughout the years.
Mhm,
When I first started just listening to music, I think, like, I was brought up in a Christian household, so
mhm,
I was listening to what you would call secular music, and as well as like Christian hip hop at the time. And so at the same time, I was, with my CD Walkman, and
mhm.
so I was jamming to T Bone, as well as listening to Eminem and Big Pun,
Oh yeah.
and and as well as every other artist at the time, any R&B artists like Usher, for example, or Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
I was listening to a lot growing up, but it started to change as I got older, especially when I started doing music. As far as hip hop, I would still listen to Big Pun, which was an artist who I really, um, I'm Puerto Rican, and so like him being a Puerto Rican rapper from the Bronx was something that me and my brother really idolized as
Mhm.
growing up. And I was listening to him at an age I probably shouldn't have been listening to him. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was like 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old,
Mhm.
listening to that. But that was really growing up. That's what I really jammed to. And then when I started rapping, I was listening to a lot of Lecrae.
Okay.
I
Okay.
really got into Logic,
Mhm,
when he first came up back in like 2015, 2016.
mhm.
Um, when I was listening to him, I just really felt like he seemed like he was having so much fun doing what he's doing. And I was like, man, I want to have fun like that. Like, I want to enjoy this because sometimes I can take this way too serious,
Okay.
like, too serious where it takes out the fun and becomes a burden.
Mhm.
And so that was an artist I could really grasp at the time, Andy Mineo as well.
Oh yeah.
But the artist that I feel at this moment of time, who out of all these years that I've really just held on to, is John Bellion. And he is like I don't know what you call him, like a pop hip hop artist. He produces all his own music.
Mhm,
Um, like, he just recently produced Tori Kelly's full album, produced the Jonas Brothers album.
mhm.
He produced a few songs for Justin Bieber that he gave to. but he's an amazing artist as well, and he's the one who I am trying to follow the blueprint, and it's kind of the reason why I went to Full Sail as well, where I would watch him. I first heard his music and I loved it, but then I would see his behind the scenes videos he'd release on YouTube of him just creating everything on his own.
Mhm.
And I fell in love with that. I was like, oh wow, he does everything from beginning to end. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's what I want to do. And so I even call myself like I'm a poor man John Bellion. Like I'm just a I'm just a poor man version of him. But that's what I kind of strive for. So out of any artist that I've spoke of, John Bellion right now in my life is someone who I really feel like I can really relate with the most, and I'm really trying to model that blueprint as far as how he makes his music. Even though mine's more hip hop and his is more, I guess, pop realm.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a long-winded answer.
No, I didn't, and I didn't want to stop you because like it was such a good answer and in depth, and I was like, let him like because when you say you were Puerto Rican, and I mean I heard it on the Cucaracha con Queso,
Yeah.
because I'm Puerto Rican too.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. But I feel what you're saying, like being born in the States and stuff like that, because you say you're from Virginia, right? I think I read that somewhere.
I was born in New Jersey and I lived most of my life in Florida, but
Yeah.
I've been in Virginia since like 2014.
Oh, okay. So you're originally from Jersey. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Okay. So how do you like Virginia?
I love Virginia.
Okay.
To be honest, where I live at, like I
Yeah.
just love the mountains and the weather. And
Oh,
Florida,
yeah.
I lived in Florida majority of my life. I got love for Florida, but I hate the heat, man. And I love snow and Christmas time. So like Florida, that does not exist.
Yeah, man. I feel like that, and then like I live in LA, man, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm okay with just like some Christmas lights on palm trees at this point. I don't. That's how it is.
I get it.
But no, like, do you feel like that where you are is influencing your vibe? Like, like Jersey has definitely a distinctive sound because it's so close to New York. When you need to think about hip hop, and then when you're talking about being in Virginia, that's gonna be more down southy. I guess if that's a thing, or it's just blurring at this point. But they definitely are just different like sounds based off of the culture of where you're at, because every state is a different culture for sure. Like
Definitely.
being here in LA is definitely more like, and you said, I think you were in your song, you said you was like you're Mexican, right? As well.
No, well, I know it can come off that way. My wife even
Yeah.
told me, she's like, hey, when you say that in that part of that song, you sound like you're saying you're Mexican.
Yeah.
I'm not Mexican. I'm full Puerto Rican. But
Mhm.
the reason why I say that,
Mhm.
Boricua and Mexicano, like I have a lot of love for the Mexican culture. A lot of my close friends are Mexican.
Okay.
And especially for that, I don't know if you were able to listen to the full song,
Yeah.
but towards the end half where I kind of talk about the struggle of feeling like I'm not accepted in my own culture.
Yeah.
In school, majority, I would hang out with all the Puerto Ricans, but I would constantly be like almost picked on, like you ain't real Puerto Rican, because a lot of them were straight from the island, so they were fluent in the Spanish. They, either spoke broken English, but and so I always kind of felt like I was an outsider. But in school, I started hanging out with a lot of the Mexicans, and I was never felt pushed. I was never told like I wasn't accepted or I wasn't good enough in that sense of like, oh, you ain't really Puerto Rican. Like that never happened. And so I really grew for some reason in that culture where I really hung out with all the Mexicans and all through, middle school and high school. And so when I say that in the song, it's more of like, I have a lot of love for that, for that culture. And so that's why I say the Mexicano part, but I'm not Mexican.
Oh, no, because it came off that way for sure.
Yeah.
It's fire, but I mean, here, because Mexican culture is completely, different, and it's very like, and I don't mean it like in a negative way. Like it's like I feel like here in because it's awesome. It's an awesome culture. I love the food and everything about it. I feel like here in LA, it's the epitome of what it is to be Latino for sure. And I consider myself Afro Latino, being Puerto Rican and stuff, and knowing our ancestry and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I had a different experience, because for me, I was in like all these Catholic schools, and I was the only Puerto Rican half the time. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And they was like, nah, they like you're not white, and that was and I knew that right away, like I wasn't white, but or even like telling me like or Mexican things like like where's your sombrero, where's your green card, and I'm like, I ain't Mexican, like what are you talking about, like I don't even know what you're talking about. So
I understand.
my dad used to be like, we can go back and forth as much as we want. You tell him, but we can go back and forth as much as we please type thing. You're like, oh, what? getting mad about it. Because he was a janitor. It was no lie.
Mhm.
When I was in grade school and stuff. So I had like that type of experience. And then as I got older, I always felt more accepted, around other like black people and stuff. So
Gotcha.
I didn't really speak Spanish, but as far as my mom, my mom didn't speak Spanish to me at all. But
Gotcha.
but my grandparents did, you know.
Okay.
So I don't know if you had any like a similar experience. Are you trying to like learn Spanish now? Are you because I heard like you spitting in Spanish, and that was another
Mhm.
thing I was going to ask you too about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with me, the way I grew up in my household, my mom, both my parents were from the island. They're fluent in Spanish and English.
Mm-hmm,
My growing up, my mom spoke to us 100% in Spanish, still does, but
mm-hmm.
my father spoke to us only in English,
Oh, okay.
and it was kind of odd. And
Mm-hmm,
I later learned why, because when from what my grandfather told me on my dad's side, that when his kids were growing up in Puerto Rico, he had them all in English speaking schools,
mm-hmm.
and he spoke to them in English because he wanted in the household when they were in Puerto Rico, because once he knew that eventually they would move back to the States,
Okay.
and he wanted his kids to be bilingual and be able to know both Spanish and English. So all my aunts and uncles and my dad all speak very good English. Some of them, if you were talking to them on the phone, you wouldn't even know they were Hispanic because you might not even be able to tell if they had an accent or not.
Okay.
And so my father, I guess, from his father always speaking to him in English, he only spoke to us in English. But it'd be weird. He'd be speaking to my mom in Spanish. My mom speaks to us in Spanish, and he'd directly
Mm-hmm.
speak to us in English, like back and forth. And so growing up, that's why it was kind of like a struggle with me, because I could understand. I would say I understand probably 80%. When
Yeah.
someone's speaking to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And as far as speaking it, like it's like I would know what I want to say, but I would have in trouble with the in between words, and so that was always a struggle. And but as far as me, like in a song, like I spit Spanish words in songs like here and
Mm-hmm.
there, and I that mostly comes from listening to like Big Pun and T Bone. Who T Bone was like a Christian rapper, but he would spit Spanish and
Oh
English,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know.
and
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
Pun would throw
Uh,
Spanish words here and there,
uh,
and so I always felt like, as being Puerto Rican, I always felt like, okay, anytime I'm rapping, every few songs or something, I always got to remind people.
yeah.
I always got to throw some Spanish in there. So like if I sit down, like
He's like, I throw a
especially
little song in there or something like that.
exactly. So if I sit down, like
uh,
I'm writing it, I make sure I'm either talking
mhm,
to my wife who's fluent, or
mhm,
my wife's Puerto Rican as well,
mhm,
and or I talk to my mom and be like, hey, I just want to make sure, am I saying this word correctly? Am I spelling this right? Like I
mhm,
just want to make
mhm.
sure it just makes sense and stuff. But even with like my song Never Letting Go, um,
Yeah.
that I do like probably like I don't know, a couple of bars in Spanish. That was really difficult to do. I kept messing up when I recorded that.
Yeah.
But like even that, I'm pretty sure like those who are fluent will probably be like, he's not even pronouncing the words correctly. He's saying, I'm sure that's
Yeah.
being said. But yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't speak it fluently. But to answer your question, I do want to learn. Like it is definitely a I don't know what the word would use for it. It's definitely something that's a um man it definitely is a sore spot when it comes to, I could get offended easily from it,
Mhm.
especially in the past if someone were to be like, "Oh, you can't speak Spanish?"
Yeah.
Like just that I've heard that 1,000 times growing up.
Yeah.
And right away it brings me back to that childhood of like that little boy of like, "Oh man, I'm not good enough. I'm not Puerto Rican enough." Because I was told that so many times, even by my own family members.
Yeah.
And so that is a little soft spot for me, where it's even like, to get really deep, it's affected on how I would look at my culture, like because I had that feeling or that burden of like, you should know how to speak Spanish because you're Puerto
Yeah.
Rican.
Mhm.
That if I were to try to, or sometimes when I would try to in the past speak back, I would get made fun of. Like, oh, what are you laughing at? That's how making fun of how I pronounce a word. That I would just shut down, and
Yeah.
then I wouldn't even want to listen to like salsa or any Spanish music, or I don't even want to visit Puerto Rico because I'm like, oh man, I'm going to be forced to speak Spanish, and then I'm going to
Yeah.
do terrible at it, and people are going to laugh at me. You know what? I'm
Mhm.
just not going to even go visit. Like that's how much it really affected me growing up, and still it does now. I'm a little in a better place than I am now through counseling and stuff that I've gone to.
Mhm.
But I do want to eventually get to a place where I could speak it fluently, because it is something that I am proud of my culture and my background, and I
Mhm.
do want to become fluently. But um, right now I'm not. But that is something, a goal of mine in the future, that I would love to be able to learn it.
No, I agree with you, man. I've been listening, well, working on Duolingo, not listening because you do listen, you talk and whatever. But I play those Duolingo games and stuff, and I
Okay.
listen to a lot of like Bad Bunny and
Okay.
and stuff like that. So I um I always find myself, repeating some of those things, and it gets in my head, and I have things that I remember from when I was younger, or people I was around, and I want to be able to communicate with family like back home that I haven't been
Exactly.
to talk to in a while,
Exactly.
and without having like a middleman or something like that. But yeah, I agree with you, man. So that's why I was like, oh, that's fire. When I was listening to like your music, I was like, oh, I heard you talking about it, and I was like, oh, okay. Um, and I didn't know
Yeah.
when you were saying that the whole thing about the culture, you explaining that as far as like you feel more accepted with Mexicans is, you know, having those experiences. I understand that too, because I see that as well. You just go where you're
Gotcha.
accepted, and you're still like, oh, this is still, there's still Latino that you're thinking of. I'm gonna be, like, I'm in
Yeah.
good hands, man. Like, think about it, man. When people think about eating Spanish food, they're not thinking about eating Puerto Rican food. Thinking about going to eat Mexican food for real, for real.
Yeah.
But I mean that I feel like I'm Puerto Rican as fuck because I be making like mofongo and
Oh yeah.
panilla
Okay.
and all that stuff myself, like, and coquito and all that stuff. We do that for on the holidays.
Yeah.
So we make arroz con candules all the time,
Yeah.
tostones. So like I'm always eating good. And my wife, she's African American, so
Okay.
she we celebrate the culture together, like, and that's it's beautiful because it's part of her culture too, is the way I
That's
look at
awesome.
it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So as far as like Spanish music, do you listen to any of that now? Like any like reggaeton or anything like that? Is anybody outside of just regular hip
Hmm.
hop? Because I know they have a lot of like I listen
Yeah.
to a lot of trap. I like really like ghetto behind music, so it don't matter what
Okay.
language it's in. So yeah, that's it. How about yourself?
I used to a lot with my brother growing up. He was always playing reggaeton all the time.
Okay.
But not too much now, to be honest.
Mhm.
Maybe some salsa here and there that I'll just put on like Spotify randomly. Because like I have a good like salsa reminds me a lot of my father because my father still to this day plays the congas and he plays it in church and stuff. And so I was always growing up hearing him play the
Mhm.
congas, or while we're driving in the car, he's hitting the steering wheel 100 times, listening to the side like practicing and stuff.
Yeah.
So I have like a soft spot for that, but I don't, to be honest, I don't really listen. I don't, ironically, I don't listen to a ton of music.
Uh,
Um, when I do, I'm the type of person where like I'm very judgmental when it comes to things. So like anytime someone's like, "Yo, you gotta listen to that guy," right away I'm like, I'm not gonna listen to it because you're already hyping him up. Like
yeah.
any artist I listen to is I found on my own,
Mhm.
and so you kind of feel like, oh, this is like my special treasure. So I listen to that, and then I'm like a diehard fan like for that artist. So if I'm listening to your music, like I'm one listening to your music a lot.
Mhm.
I'm buying your merch and I'm
Mhm.
supporting you, like, and following on social. Like that's the kind of fan I am, and I'm either 100 or zero. So
Yeah.
either I'm listening to your music or I never listen to your music. So when it comes to music in general, I wouldn't say I don't listen to a lot of it. And when it comes to Spanish music, it's kind of going back to what we were just talking about of like
Yeah.
it makes I have that like that I guess you could say insecurity of like the way I was growing up with that
Mhm.
that was one of the things too. There was always like, do you listen to reggaeton? You don't listen to reggaeton? Right. That was like that push on me of like, oh,
Yeah.
you're Puerto Rican, you're supposed to listen to that. And then make me be like, you know what? I don't want to listen to that for that very reason. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's how like deep this goes.
No, no, no. I get it. I get it. We could have a whole nother episode with us just talking about
Yeah.
that. And no,
Yeah.
because I mean, for me, I don't think I felt I didn't reject it. I was more like, it was more like the salsa. I think, I had a whole different relationship with salsa. I could have a whole nother backstory about that.
Yeah.
Salsa's
Okay.
dangerous. It's just dangerous.
Okay.
Um, it's like, did you ever see that movie Salsa? It's like Salsa the movie. You ever see that movie?
No,
It's like
no.
it's this great. I think it's like 80s or 90s. It's cheesy, like it was done. Yeah, what was the 80s? I don't know. Look it up though, man. It's a classic. It's super cheesy. There's a car
It's called
scene where
Salsa the movie.
yeah, it's literally salsa.
Okay.
There's a whole scene where They do like salsa on top of like a billboard and stuff, like
Okay.
dancing up on the billboard. Just the silliest, stupidest shit is in I remember that from my childhood. Yeah,
Gotcha.
so definitely check that movie out, man. But yeah, salsa's dangerous. That's all I would say.
Okay.
But reggaeton, like for me, like I've discovered a lot of these reggaeton artists late, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't listening
Okay.
to that. I'm a hip hop head, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's what I listen to mostly. And then I mean I get my moods. Sometimes I listen to classical, sometimes I listen to jazz,
I love Louis Armstrong. I like listening to Louis
Yeah,
Armstrong.
man. See what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of, or even Latin jazz, in general,
Mhm.
like just having these different moods. I don't really particularly like EDM and stuff like that too, because
Okay.
sometimes that'll make me like feel like a little anxious, or like some type of like heavy metal or like rock.
Yeah.
So it also does affect your mood, and the lyrics and all that stuff. And I don't need anybody screaming at me sometimes, you know. But
Yeah.
everybody has their, their what they enjoy listening to, and there's a place for that. It's just, that's what I love about it, and then even crossing
Yeah.
those genres, and
I
I
agree.
like that meeting people like you too, like that, like you said, you were like you find an artist and you're like, oh, I want to start listening to that, and that's part of why I like doing this because it's so much fun, meeting people like I just discovered, like like instead of like the mainstream stuff they're playing on there, and then I'm hoping that people
Mhm.
discover them, yourself or any other artists that come on my
Yeah,
platform,
definitely.
that they discover you too, and they start going crazy on your stuff. Um,
I would
that's
love
yeah. Well,
that.
that's my thing. If I put you on my shows, like I actually genuinely liked it, and
Awesome.
so
I appreciate that.
I'm not just like, oh, let me just no, I really I wouldn't put it on otherwise. And so then I'm hoping that other people are like, oh yeah, they're pretty dope too, and they start checking them out and following you as well.
Awesome.
So yeah, um, yeah, man. So you have any like projects coming up?
Yeah, I have an EP I've been working on, it feels like forever, called House of Fear,
Hmm.
Part One. And so the Cucaracha con Queso, that song is going to be featured on the EP.
Okay.
Um, I also have a song that I dropped on Christmas called My Ninja Turtles, and that's going to be on the EP as well. And
Mm-hmm.
that is the whole like concept of the EP,
Mm-hmm.
being House of Fear, is it really deals with just that, with fear of, most of us, we tend to run away from fear because it's fear, it's uncomfortable, and we don't want to face that. And so the concept of the EP is I'm walking into the house of fear and confronting fear itself. And so each song deals with an aspect of fear that I deal with. And so, like, for example, with Cucaracha con Queso, the insecurity or that fear of rejection when it comes to not being accepted into my culture. So that's the relation with that song. My song, My Ninja Turtles, that's already out as well. That song deals with it's like a Christmassy song that you can play on Christmas, but any time of the year as well. And that deals with like the fear of growing up, of like reminiscing on childhood so much that you lose grasp on the now,
Okay.
and you start to think the good old days are back then. And so the concept behind that song is like reminiscing on the past, but then also remembering, hey, I have a family now and I have kids now,
Mm-hmm.
and I can have that good old days now and give my children the childhood I had as well. And so I have another song on the album that'll be coming out. It's called Happy Time,
Mm-hmm.
and that song deals with the the fear of like of not being able to stay in that happy place where like things are always good and that positive thinking, because I'm someone who naturally looks at the cup half empty instead of
Mm-hmm.
half full. And so I have a natural like negative outlook that I have to really, meditate and really look at the positive things. And so happy time is all about like, man, I wish I could just stay in the happy time. Wish I could just stay in that place where
Yeah.
you're focused on what you want to do, where you're in the gym, you're eating healthy, you're doing all these things, but then you fall back into that depression, into that negative thinking. And then you were like, man, why can't I just stay in that place? And so that's one of the songs as well. So the whole EP is there's a few other songs, but the whole EP is just about dealing with fear. And so each song kind of has a portion of fear in a different way.
Okay. That
Makes
sounds
sense.
that sounds fire.
Yeah.
Like that's a whole concept album. That's
Yeah.
dope. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
when you finish it, yeah, please, hit me up so you can do,
Oh,
we'll talk.
definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. It's everything's recorded. I'm just in the
Uh-huh.
process of I mix and master my own music, and so I'm in the process of mixing it right now.
Okay.
So I'm on the tail end of it. yeah, I'm real excited, for that EP because it's the first full album that I'll put out that I've produced all the music as well. In the past, I would like purchase a beat or have someone make me the beat, and I just rap on it and record it. But I made everything from scratch, and so that's something I'm really proud of. So I'm real excited once it comes out.
That's awesome. That's all. And you, what about the visuals? Are you thinking about like as far as like filming it? You gonna like do that yourself as well, or
You mean as far as like music videos?
Yeah, yeah.
I do have some ideas that I want. Especially, I have a song called "Father Wounds."
Yeah.
And that one's pretty deep. Talks a lot about my father. And the end of it kind of talks about my father got in a car accident and almost died back in 2018, and talks about that and just different stuff. It's a pretty like vulnerable song, to be honest. Out of all the songs in the album, it's the most like, I'm being 100% open and not holding anything back. That I really want to do a music video to that. It would be pretty. I have a lot of ideas for that, but I don't at the moment have someone who I could film for me. I do have a few people I have in mind, but if I wanted to do a music video, that would be the one. But I do have like the album cover already done for the EP and stuff, and I am gonna do a couple, probably like short, maybe 60-second clips, kind of like I did with Cucaracho and Queso, something like that, but a little more in depth for a few songs as well.
What about live shows? Any live shows or anything?
My friend and I have a friend named Shua who he does like kind of like, I guess you would say like punk rock, Christian rock type style music. Me and him have been wanting to do house shows. And I don't know if you've heard the term. I learned it through Full Sail, where it's literally like a network of people who they perform in a house. And people will like open up the living room and invite like 30 or 40 people. It's real intimate settings. And so we want to do a couple of those because he's actually working on his EP as well. His is being mixed. We actually, there's going to be a documentary coming out that we shot about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years now, where we rented out a cabin in Cave Springs, Virginia, and we recorded both of our albums at once in 5 days. So it was like 15, 16 songs in 5 days. It was very stressful because he has all live music. Yeah. So we're recording like live drums, piano, guitars, electric guitars, vocals, like backup art vocals. Like there's so much we did in 5 days. And so we actually had someone come and shoot a documentary while we were doing it. So that's going to be coming out once both of our albums drop. But me and him are going to want to do a lot of house shows as well. But as far as live performances now, I've been performing about once or twice a month, just open mics in my area.
That's great.
And because probably I just moved back to Virginia back in September. I had moved away for a couple of years back to Florida. And so one of my goals when I came back was I was like, you know what, I need to perform more because I was kind of up and down with music and not really being consistent, especially with the performing aspect. So my goal this year is like, regardless of where it's at, got to perform once or twice a month anywhere. So I've been just dropping that, open mics, performing 1 or 2 songs. So that's been really fun.
Awesome. So before we let you go, can you give everybody your social media handles so where you can find you?
It's at J-Vil Music. That's J-V-I-L Music. I'm active on Facebook, Instagram. I just recently started a TikTok page. I was forever like not pushing that off. I'm not active on Twitter. I do have a Twitter account, but I can't remember last time I posted on that.
Twitter's X now. Okay.
X, X. Okay. Sorry. There's just so many social media accounts that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't keep up with all of them. But yeah, at J-Vil Music, that's J-V-I-L Music.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you. This has been a great interview, and I definitely want to have you on again because
I would be down.
Yes,
for it, man.
awesome, man.
Awesome.
So everybody make some noise for J-Vil. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Let's go get him, Zim.